This last sewing video of this series is of the remaining pieces of the clothing, which are the straps, obi-like belt, hand guards, and the cloak which is attached to the fur collar. I started with this quilted faux leather that simulates a woven leather for the belt. I used the full width of the faux leather for future size adjustments. Next, I used faux suede for the decorations on the front of it. The belt that supports his sword and water skin is made up of the same corduroy fabric as the main garment, and I added grommets every 4 inches along with a buckle. Different trims have been used in each of the different seasons for this part, so I decided on a decorative ribbon with gold. I used repurposed wooden curtain rings. The very fronts of these minor belts are free, but the sides I sewed down to secure them in place. Can't forget the tassels at the bottom of the peak. Next is the clasp that I chose for the back. I put it on a 2-inch elastic to have adjustable fitting abilities. Placing the elastic right sides together, they'll be sandwiched between the belt and the lining to stick out at the end. For the lining, I used more of the corduroy fabric to create a sort of fabric friction to help keep the belt in place once worn, and sewed the sides and along the bottom of the belt. To get the correct thickness for the belt, I decided on a medium weight felt. The felt isn't wide enough for the belt, so I had to piece it together. First, I zigzag stitched the joints, then reinforce the seam with a piece of scrap fabric. It's not perfect, but it does improve the stability of the joint. I top stitched around the sides and the bottom to help secure the felt down, and also restitched along the white strip in the middle. I sewed the 2 smaller belts along the tops of each so they wouldn't flop around everywhere. Lastly, I hand stitched the top close with the ladder stitch. The second part of the clasp will be sewn onto the belt with small strips of corduroy. Since I'm female cosplaying a male character, I need to square off my hips. I'm stuffing small pockets inside of the belt to help the belt stay straight when worn. Next is the collar and cloak. I've got more of his fake fur that I used before, a translucent black fabric, and if need be, I have some leftover wire to insert into the collar to make it form-fitting. The leftover wire is from a previous cosplay prop, but that's for another video. I made a long rectangle and sewed it together. I used my awl to pull out the fur that had got trapped in the sewing process. I stuffed it a bit with polyester stuffing, but not too much. I think it might be a bit poofier than I'd like, but it's fine for now. Next, I took a small strip of the cloak fabric and wrapped it around 3 times and secured it. Next, it was hand sewn onto the cloak itself. The handguards also utilized the medium weight felt. This part was for the back of the hands only. Then I traced it onto the quilted vinyl to make small arm bracers to go underneath the shirt sleeves. Bead decorations were then carefully sewn on and secured. I cut out the lining for the bracers from some scrap fabric from the garment's applique suede. Basted it together, and bound it all together with the bias tape I made from the same suede. To keep these guards on my hands, I chose a soft black elastic. Finally, I had a molded vinyl that also simulated a woven leather, but black this time for his epaulette. Medium weight felt to the rescue for the stiffness once again. The felt was cut slightly smaller than the vinyl, so that the vinyl could easily fold over for the felt to secure it on. I carefully planned where the grommets would be placed and traced where the holes would go. These grommets were purchased from a leather store and is not your typical fashion grommets. I needed a size that was not available at my local fabric store. A little strip of suede was used to make the X on the epaulette, and I hand sewed the joint under it. I didn't bother making Shofuka's water skin in this video because I plan on buying a travel mug from a company called Goat Story that makes horn-shaped travel mugs. I didn't want to waste fabric making the fake water skin, so I'm saving my materials for when I can purchase the travel mug. I'll probably do a bonus video for that once I do make it. And that's it for now. I'm very pleased how this turned out, and gave me practice for the next Thunderbolt Fantasy costumes to come. Next video will be slightly different in content. Wig styling for this costume.